What's up everybody? My name is Elliott, but you can call me the Motory Notary. And you know what they say, the best way to avoid an accident is to just not have one in the first place. Or you can buy a really safe car and pretty much not worry about it. So those of you who have followed the channel for a little while know that I was just involved in a pretty serious head-on collision with my BMW Z4. So you might think I'm overcompensating a bit by buying a big Volvo station wagon. And while there might be some truth to that, this isn't just any Volvo station wagon. This is my 2005 Volvo V70 R, and it's a very special car that I just rescued for $4,000. Now, that might seem like a lot for one of these first glance, but it's a very special car, and it's easily the cheapest one in the country. As you just saw in Hoover's video, I bought this from Euro-Asian Bob, and it had been sitting outside for more than 3 years, not moving, not doing anything, and it kind of explains, well, why it looks the way it does. But let's learn more about why this car is special in the first place. So this is the Volvo V70R, and R to Volvo is like M to BMW or AMG is to Mercedes. It's their performance line. But unlike BMW and Mercedes, there's nothing on the outside of this one that really screams performance or highlights that there's anything special going on at all with this car. It's a wagon after all. But there is something special, a lot actually. This one is powered by a turbocharged inline 5-cylinder, not 4-cylinder, not 6-cylinder, a 5-cylinder. And that power is sent to all of the wheels simultaneously, and the cherry on top of the specialness cake is this one is a manual. For $4,000, this has been a pretty good buy so far. Now, of course, it could use a car wash and definitely some paint on the hood, but this one is mechanically sound. So now you know a little bit about the Volvo R line, you know about the general stats of this car, but let's take a look at what I actually got for $4,000. Now you guys are also getting a special treat because I've got Jacob holding the camera here. Normally, I have to hold the camera and it's vlogger central, but everything feels a little bit more pro today. First and foremost, elephant in the room, we've got some clear coat issues. That's probably the first thing that everybody notices, but all of this is because this car was just facing the sun and the correct angle for so many years that it just baked it off. And this is an aluminum hood though, so that is pretty cool. I don't know if you can hear that. That's aluminum. Also on the front, we have one of the only places that it says R on this car. Nothing crazy, it's just this little tiny R right here. Most people are gonna think this is just a Volvo wagon, and they'll think this one's a Volvo wagon in bad condition, but they don't know. This one is super duper special. One thing that might not show up on camera is that this is actually blue. It might look like it matches my shirt, but I assure you, it is blue, it is not black. And you can see it obviously still has some clear here that's missing. And up here is some special part here. It, for some reason, says dealer must remove protective cover all around the sunroof. So part of the reason that this car was so cheap is because it was a salvage title due to hail. And I think what happened is when it got hailed on and the PDR guy fixed it, they taped up the sunroof or did something and just kind of forgot to remove the tape, and it got absolutely sun-baked onto the roof of this car. So it will forever say, dealer protect, do not remove, well, until I remove it. But now it'll be a lot harder than it would have been at the time. Well, let's just keep walking around this thing. One thing of note that's very cool, very Swedish, are my little headlight wipers. I mean, these are actual windshield wipers, but headlights, because these are glass. That's probably why the hood faded, but the headlights didn't, which is pretty impressive. Anyway, that's your Swedish build quality for you. These are the R design wheels, so I think they're a very handsome wheel. And the only thing that is very R about them, it says R right there. But also, you get big Brembo brakes in here, which also say R on them. But these are things that's not red, it's not like yellow, it's not in your face. These are very subtle little hints that this is the performance model. Nothing else really wrong. There's actually not even dents in the side of it. It's in very good shape. Now, of course, around back, this is the money show. This is the wagon portion of this car. This is why everybody loves it. And again, you'll find the only other R badge on the car. It just says R and all-wheel drive, which is obviously very cool. Back here, you get some storage, and you also get just years of stuff. I don't even know what to make of this. I don't know what this is. But I mean, yeah, it's nothing a little simple green won't fix. The seats fold down. You could probably sleep in here. I mean, this thing is just great. And I'll consider this a feature. Check this out. Pretty much auto closing. Man, did you see the dust when I did that? Let's move on to the party piece in this car, and I'll open it up and then hop onto the other side. The rest of the interior is in great shape, but let's be honest, the coolest part of this thing is the shifter. It's called the Spaceball, for God's sake. How cool is that? I mean, look at it. It's just like a normal shifter, but with a smooth plastic thingy on it that makes it look so much cooler than a normal shifter. I don't know if I'll ever get tired of looking at this. I certainly won't ever get tired of driving it. This is the centerpiece of the car, and I'm so excited about it. Look at these beautiful blue gauges. This is an R design thing, and you can tell they have little tiny R's on the bottom of each gauge. But otherwise, this thing is in amazing shape. I've never seen a car that's sat outside for even 1 year still look this good inside. And even if it didn't sit outside, after regular use, 109,000 miles, this thing still has all of the paint and words on the buttons. They're not all worn off, and usually this would be all white. I mean, it's in great shape. And above all else, this dash is just made out of some wonder material. I cannot believe this has been in just straight sun for 3 years, and the only sign of imperfection is right here on the top where this stitching breaks. But apparently on the Volvo forums, that happens to all of them, so it's not even a problem that's unique to this car. And even if that was a problem that was unique to this car, it's still not that bad. The overall dash is in better shape than both half of my cars. And again, can't get enough of the Spaceball. Rest of the interior, obviously more of the same. I got my engine covers in the back there, but this thing is just, I'm speechless at how good of shape this is in. Let me show you under the hood though, and that's where all of the specialness comes into fruition for this car. So under here, we have the turbocharged 5-cylinder. Now this engine makes 300 horsepower. This is a 300 horsepower all-wheel drive manual wagon. Now not long ago, that was Corvette horsepower in the most unassuming package possible. And not to mention, pretty safe. It needs some stuff, and obviously it's got just fossilized leaves going on here. But nothing a shop vac and Simple Green won't fix. Another thing you might notice while we're under here is the lack of windshield wipers. One thing that's going on with this car is apparently the windshield wipers are just out of control. They just won't stop. One way to make that not a problem anymore is to just remove them entirely. So that's something I'm gonna have to address and figure out. But until then, I just won't drive it in the rain. I mean, I cannot believe that this car was $4,000. I simply can't. But that's enough looking around. Let's see how this $4,000 Volvo with 3-year-old fluid and bad gas and everything else drives. Now, in Hoovy's video, he got to drive it, but this is really my first actual drive. And the Spaceball, although weird, feels just like a regular manual, as it should, but it is very bizarre looking. One thing to keep in mind, and that I can't help but think about, is all of the fluids in this car are like 3+ years old. And not just that, they're 3+ years old and have been sitting outside. So it's just moisture and heat and cold and moisture. And it's just like, that does not help them. All right, let's see. Okay, stumbles. Maybe not, feels pretty good. Well, holy crap, I wouldn't know that the fluids are all old. This thing has all of its power still, it feels like. And I know that it needs new coils, plugs, and all this other stuff. That was very impressive. Apparently, if you have a Volvo, you can just let it sit outside for like 4 years, and it's just fine. Okay. I don't know what that is, but... I mean, I was kind of speechless because I'm making sure everything is staying hunky-dory. But that is just flat out impressive for how long this thing has sat, for how old it is. Unbelievable. These things are invincible. Let's mention some other important things here. This does have 109,000 miles, which kind of actually makes it pretty low mileage for my fleet. But more importantly, it makes it very low mileage for a Volvo. These things are known to go like 400,000 miles. So this one's just getting started pretty much. Yes, the tires are a little flat spotted and we're trying the brakes out right now. Spongy, but they work. It's so, I mean, woo. It's got a slight rev hang between gears. I think the clutch is pretty thin on this thing. But another thing to keep in mind, not just the fluids, the gas in this car is really, really old and probably has separated moisture-wise. We need to go get gas in this ASAP. I think new gas alone is gonna wake this thing up, which is crazy, because it seems pretty darn awake. The climate control seems to be working. It's blowing cold. What a car. I cannot believe that this was $4,000. Very bizarre replacement. I didn't think when I was shopping for new cars that I would be like, yeah, I think I'm gonna replace my 2-seater German convertible with a, I don't know how many seater Swedish wagon. What a weird turn of events, but a good turn of events. Overall, there's not a lot wrong with it. There's nothing critically, majorly wrong with it. It's just a whole lot of little things. Let's head back to the studio and wrap this thing up and talk about what's next. All right, so that's my new Volvo V70R. This is quite a weird replacement for a BMW Z4, but it's one I'm very, very excited about. And you might be wondering, what are my plans for this car? Well, first and foremost, I'm not gonna hack it up. I think I'm actually going to fix this one, restore it to its former glory, plus a little bit more. I don't know, we'll see. Stay tuned for that. But thank you for tuning in to this particular video. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. I try to post little previews of episodes like this, and it's a great place to see some behind the scenes action. Like me on Facebook, join my Facebook group. It's a fun place to share memes, and I'm usually in there interacting in the comments. And other than that, be sure to like, comment, and share, subscribe on this video. It greatly helps my YouTube performance. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys on the next video. It doesn't want to go into pretend fifth. Huh. It's just not having it. It's okay. I mean, it's a Spaceball. Ugh, look at this thing. It's so cool. I mean, gated shifters are cool, and I guess regular shifters are cool, but nothing is as unique as the freaking Spaceball. Whew.